They didn't necessarily, approve of like people working there in my department, so to speak. And so it was tough at first, but one of the things I think it taught me is how to keep going. You dealt with the drive-bys, you dealt with crime, you dealt with drugs, you dealt with things that people wouldn't, necessarily deal with from a middle class standpoint.
Hey Monique, how are you?
Hi! Thanks for having me here. And
yes, have a seat.
Thank you.
Monique, thank you so much for coming out today and meeting with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And, I'm really excited to hear about your personal insight and your journey to this day. And I know you're having a big birthday soon.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about you, Monique Nicole.
Yes.
And how you came about having that name, or do you know the story behind that?
Yes.
Okay.
Monique Nicole came from my aunt. My aunt, her name was Monica, and she passed away. But she was more of like a godmother, if you will, for me. So my mother, gave me her name and just kind of twisted it a little bit. And so she came up with Monique. And a lot of how I move in business and what I do, I get a lot of inspiration from her. She was the vice president of a company in New Jersey before she passed away. And so great, career, great background. She raised me as we were growing up. She was there to really be that extra push to just go after my dreams and leave Alabama, because she moved to New Jersey from Alabama. So yeah, that's where my name came from.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That must have been a big change too.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was. But I got a lot of what I seen her go through to push me to go forward, because she left Alabama and was, hey, I can do it, and she did. She never looked back. And so I did the same. I left and came to Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your childhood, how it was growing up as Monique Nicole, and also kind of reflecting a little bit about your children and how they grew up and some of the things that might have been the same or totally different regarding the way you grew up and they grew up.
Yeah, well, I have 3 siblings, and 2 of my siblings are twins. And then I have a younger brother, all boys, and I'm the only girl. So I'm the oldest. So I played like mother dearest to my brothers, too. And so my lifestyle was a lot of nurturing for them at an early age. So I kind of, had to grow up fast and be that extra push and parent to my brothers too. My mother, she worked very hard, and so I wanted to just kind of fill in the gaps where need be at home. And my upbringing, we were rich at all. We had our base diet was cereal and bologna sandwiches and baby cakes, but we made it. Things, you have those humble beginnings that allow you to be grateful for what you have. So my children, they kind of have it made in the shade compared to that, right? They don't have bologna sandwiches and mayonnaise sandwiches anymore. They pretty much, have more things that I, can afford to give them in a lifestyle that's more of a middle class, and experience the finer things. I will say that being a part of coming from a poor background and being part of more of a hood type of background, because I will say, like, my background, we get with it. We definitely, it's not a cookie cutter background, but I will say it was rough. You dealt with the drive-bys, you dealt with crime, you dealt with drugs, you dealt with things that people wouldn't, necessarily deal with from a middle class standpoint. But one of the things that I will say from my childhood that I got from that was being from the hood gives you a strong sense of family, because it allows you to make people your family that's not related to you. And, and when you're from the hood, that's your hood. Like, that's family. Don't nobody mess with the hood, you know? And so that's one of the things that I can fall back and say, and you just always felt love in the hood. So yeah, my kids don't have that necessarily, that experience, but I take them home, you know, from time to time and just kind of tell them some things and show them some things. But I just kind of think nowadays, you know, things are just different. They don't necessarily have to have that, but they have to have the humble beginnings that I give them through how I provide for them as a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, in regards to your upbringing, how has that helped you in your career? Like, what is it that you do in your career now, and what is it that people think you do in your career? And how much of your upbringing has impacted that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So most people, they just know me by fashion or they know me from social media, but they don't really know what I do, right? So I'm a senior IT project manager, and I've been in the IT field 20 years, and I love it. I mean, I love being strategic. I love making decisions and helping customers reach their goal when it comes to product and software delivery. That's what I do. Now in my role, I manage other project managers that's in the field and teach them how to best do it. So it's still strategic, it's still problem solving and all of that. I will say for me, if I take it back to Alabama when I first started in IT, wow, is what I would say. Behind the times for sure. I remember working at my very first job. I feel like I got some war wounds from because I worked at a software company. I did help desk support, and I remember working like overnight at this company. And so you would have to go in at 5, and then you would leave at 5 in the morning, right?
Wow.
And in the midst of doing that, I was also working another job, the hustler in me, right? Get it from my mama. My mama had like 19 jobs. That's how it works. And so I kept both jobs because I love money and I wanted to hustle and make a way for me and my daughter at the time. And I remember coming home, washing my hair, feeling excited because I was off that day from the day job. Okay. And so I laid down, put my hair bonnet on for my hair dryer, and went to sleep. Well, when I woke up that morning, I had a bubble sitting on my arm. And I was like, how did that happen? I didn't know. And it came down to it that the hair dryer, the tube was resting on my arm. And it actually burned a hole in my arm. So when I say I have war wounds from that, that's what I mean. But that was my very first job. And I actually got that job from a career site in the school that I was attending that pushed me to go for it. And they had interviewed everybody, and I was the last one. And the lady told me everything to say, and I said it, and I was really good at it, good at pretending at the time. And I got the job. And so I worked my way from there to, I was doing some support for an insurance company in Alabama. And it was a lot going on there. Not anything that you couldn't recover from, but a lot of, prejudice, racism kind of deal at that time. And it was very blatant that they didn't necessarily, approve of Black people working there in my department, so to speak. And so it was tough at first. But one of the things I think it taught me is how to keep going, how to keep pressing, and like, no matter what, don't give up, because every day I spent my time looking for a job in Atlanta, and I knew I wasn't going to stop until I got that job. And I did. Sometimes, I know in my story, I felt like God had forgotten me, because I had helped so many people. I had done people's resumes and got them jobs and careers, and they were moving to Atlanta. And I was thinking, man, like, what about me? Like, I'm helping them and I don't see where I'm being blessed. And God just had a different plan for me. And it was his timing, so to speak. And I remember when I finally did get the job to come here, I was coming to sign the paperwork. I wasn't coming to interview. That's just how God set that up. And so it was tough at first because I had to have a lot of faith, like you have to. And it kind of reminds you of life today, right? Like sometimes, you put in work and you have to sit back and watch other people get blessed, and you have to be happy for them. and just know that your time is coming. And so that's kind of what it was for me. And hey, I made a transition, and it was good. I've been here ever since.
So you pushed through
Yeah.
regardless of what was in front of you and what
Yes.
you saw.
Yes.
You didn't see the answer, but you kept on having faith and pushing forward.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would tell you, in that journey, I know I traveled back and forth to Atlanta at that time at least 30 to 40 times in round trip. Like, I was coming and I was going, I was coming and I was going. I remember having times where I cried on the road because I just kept believing, like, God, something has to work. And I'm constantly coming back and forth, like, when am I going to have that break? And so it was tough, but you just got to keep going. You just got to have that push and just know what's best for you is coming. And that's what it was for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, who were some of the people that were instrumental as far as, starting your career, pushing through, having those breakthrough moments, even when you didn't see a way, right? Were there some people that really stand out in your mind to you that were instrumental, maybe just giving you some kind words or encouragement or directing you in the way that you needed to go?
Yeah, I think at that time, my mother was, influential in that, and she was pushing me to keep going, like, hey, that's what you want to do it. And so my mother was one. I will say that a lot of the strength that I had came from my spiritual background. It came from me being connected to God, to believe that. I didn't really do a whole lot of talking to people because where I'm from, sometimes people don't necessarily believe that that's what you're going to do. And I didn't want anyone to turn me around or, kind of get in the way. And so I kind of kept a lot of what I was doing to myself, with the exception of my best friend at the time, and his name is Alaric. He lived here. He lives in Dubai now, but at the time he was like, hey, whatever you need, I got it. You just come and you keep coming, and something's going to work out. So he was really a big inspiration for me, along with my mother. And then I just kind of really stayed connected and grounded to my spiritual side, because I knew that something was here for me. I just knew that.
It seems like everything, all of your journey, it all goes back to home, your childhood, your roots, your faith, your mom, the foundation of who Monique Nicole is.
Right.
Now let's talk about love a little bit. Can we talk about love?
Yes.
Do you believe in love?
Yes, I do. I do believe in love. I'm not an expert in love, I will say, because I have some wounds from that too. No perfect person, right?
Yeah.
But yes, I do believe in love, and I believe love heals. I think when you encounter the right kind of love heals, and love can change a person. I do believe that. Some people say, oh no, you don't want to change a person, but love can. I think, it kind of makes me think of something cliche my grandmother used to say, hey, I'm gonna love the hell out of you. Or, you hear that from old people, they'll love the hell out of you, because you can. I believe you can love someone so much that whatever they're dealing with, eventually it's got to turn around. It's that strong. That's when it comes from a place that's pure, a true place of love that's unconditional, or necessarily a place that is from the heart, if you will. So yeah, for me, I do. I'm no expert in that. But I'm open, and I think it kind of reminds me of J-Lo a little bit. She still believes in love.
She always believes in love.
She gets it right. At some point, we're gonna get it right, and that's what we're gonna do. And so I feel the same way. I feel like, yeah, you go through things. I've been married before, and that didn't work out for me. But I feel like it was an experience for me. It was something that really I actually learned along the way. It taught me something. I needed to learn something from that. And I just learned that, of course, God's timing is best, no matter how impatient we get. Sometimes we just want it when we want it, and we microwave, and we make that be the case. And so sometimes we have to just know and be patient and know this what's for us will find us.
Okay.
So,
and do you believe that should love always be exciting and something new going on? Or is love the place where you go to and you have a routine every day? What is love to you?
I think love is a little bit of both of that, right?
Okay.
Like, to me, it is definitely the case where It's exciting. It should be exciting. Okay. You should have the person in your life that gives you love or brings love to you. Is something that's constantly ignited, right? The excitement comes from you constantly igniting it. And I believe that when you have two people that want to continuously light that fire is where you have found that person. Oftentimes people fall in love with the idea of what sparks them, right? They see something physical and they want it. It looks good. Oh, it's so shiny and pretty and I want it. And then they get it and then later it's not nurtured or it's not ignited. And anytime you turn the fire off of something, it will die. And that's what happens, you know?
Yeah.
And so two people have to continue to work at that. And so I believe that for me, love is real. I believe that it exists and I'm open to love.
Do you believe in soulmates?
Yeah, I do. I believe in soulmates. I believe that there is someone, when I think of soulmates, I think of someone that you have a spiritual connection with, someone that is beyond the things that you like. It's beyond interests. It's beyond you like blue or I like blue. Yay! No, it's not that.
Yeah.
Or it's beyond you make me feel good today and I make you feel good today. It's beyond that. I think soulmates is more of a spiritual connection that allows you to see the person outside of all of that. Like you have such a I can see through you kind of connection. I can feel you when your day is not going so well and I know what you need before you say it. I believe that those connections exist and I look forward to mine. I do.
Amen. I
Yes.
know it's coming.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about what you enjoy doing, not work or family related, what you enjoy doing for you.
The older I have gotten in this journey, of course that has evolved a lot. Now I really enjoy working out. I have become a semi-gym rat. I'm not going to call myself a gym rat, just gym rat, just yet. Because the reason being is because I want to reach a whole year goal of working out straight. Okay. That's one of the goals for me. And so February will be that for me of 2020, where I have been consistent every day, and meaning that 5 to 6 days a week, that I have dedicated to working out with nonstop. And in the past, I have done stuff like go hard, the weight comes down, and it's like, okay, I can eat a hamburger. Why not? I can eat a cup of, cheesecakes. Why not? Yeah. And so you kind of get off track because you get excited, right? You get excited about the new curves and body and all of that. And then you kind of fall back into that rut. Yeah. But this was the year that I told myself, I cannot afford not to work out. Okay. Like that's how I feel. I feel like, turning 40 is a big deal for me. And so I want to reverse the clock. I want to take it back, right? I want to stay prime and happy and firm in all the places that I want to stay. So for me, working out has become a big joy for me. And I try to make it spicy, right? I do things like trap Zumba and trap yoga and fun hip hop classes to do and still get a good sweat. So trap boxing, we trap everything these days. But yeah, so I like to do that. Working out has become one of my newest loves, if you will. I love fashion. I love to sew. And so this is one of my pieces. And
So tell me about it.
Yeah. So believe it or not, this piece, this material here, they call these bishop sleeves, if you will. And so I created this piece, and my thoughts behind it was I wanted to have such a really sexy kind of dress with, a little bit of, extra, because I'm extra like that. That's just me. And so I love sewing. So I took this from a pair of pants. This is actually a pair of pants.
Wow.
And so I cut the legs, right? Tapered the arms, took part of this dress and cut it and turned this into the sleeves. as the trim and made it happen.
So it was a whole redesign.
Yes, an entire redesign.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so creative.
Yeah. So I do stuff like that all the time, and I teach it. Actually, my latest teaching project, I actually did it for some young girls. They were ages 12 to 17. Taught them about how to own what's in their closet, like regardless of what they have, you can turn it into fashion and make it all yours and own it. And one of the things that the young ladies asked me, they said, "What got you into fashion?" And it's funny because they're young and they're impressionable. And so I wanted to make sure I really stuck something with them, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at them and I said, you know what got me into fashion? I like to look good. And I believe nobody can do it like me. And they was like, whoa. And I missed that. Like, I really believe, like, you know what? I have such that aura about how I feel about me that I believe nobody can do it better than me. And so when I think about what I really enjoy about creating, I feel like my creations are mine, right? They're personal. And I don't have to worry about any duplication. It's my thing. So I enjoy that. Sewing is good. Cooking, for whatever reason, I have turned into this famous chef in my own kitchen. Okay. Like I come up with these dishes and I just think, and I get inspiration from them from so many different places. 2 Thanksgivings ago, I was in the airport traveling for work. Mm-hmm. I grabbed the pack of nuts out of the little convenience store, and I looked at the nut bag and I was like, wow, cranberries on here and oranges? Like, who knew that this would taste as good? And so I came up with a cranberry orange glazed turkey for Thanksgiving from the inspiration off the bag of nuts, believe it or not. And so things like that is what it's art. I love to create. I'm a creator. And so I love that. I can create stuff in my sleep. I am like the do-it-yourself creator in a box, everything. Like, you want something to look good? Let me think about it. Give me something. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna figure it out. And that's just kind of how I always operated. So that brings me joy to see stuff that I can really create. And so I would say working out, fashion, cooking. I'm not a big TV person, but I do have moments where I would Netflix binge and watch some things. And I don't know, lately I have been so happy with just being at home with some good food and quiet time. And I'll sit there and I'll talk to the TV and it just be me and the TV. And I'm good, you know. So those are the things that sound small that makes me happy. And I love spas. I'm a big spa girl. So I believe, like, treat yourself, go all out, live your best life twice, like, do it, you know. So I try to do different spas around the city. I'm huge about saunas, and, you know, I'm a big Jeju fan. I love Jeju. And I just think you should take some time to always love on you. So those are the things that make me happy, like outside of work, you know.
Sounds like you're living your best life now.
I'm trying.
You're living it to the fullest.
Yes.
Now, if you could reflect on, now you have a big birthday coming up.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so you're going to be celebrating. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And part of your journey from childhood to, you know, just discovering who you are and what you enjoy doing,
mm-hmm.
like creating. And you create in your clothing and your redesigns and your food when you come up with inspirations. So you are really an artist.
Yes.
And it comes out in the creativity with your clothes and your food. Now, what do you see for yourself now? After this milestone, having this birthday, what do you see yourself doing? You said, you know, you enjoy being at home and spending that quality times, and it seems like it's the simple things. It's not anything big or lavish. It's just self-care, which is so important. What advice would you give yourself to your future self?
That's a good question. I would tell my future self to remember what worked, right? And what worked is to keep going. 2018 was a rough year for me. I learned a lot in 2018. And I actually had a brunch with some of my girlfriends, and I invited everybody over, and I cooked, and we did like a red table talk as a round table with all the ladies to talk about what they have experienced during 2018. And one of the things that I said to them that, I made some mistakes this year, and I've been a part of some really great things this year too. And one thing it has taught me is no matter what, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. Like, it may get hard. You may feel like, how did I get here? But even in the midst of the unknown, you got to keep going. And the way I think you do that is that you just stay focused on what you know of work. Like, a lot of times we look at people and we study inspiration and we study what works for other people. But I think the best examples is our own lives. If you go back and look at, how did I make it 2 years ago when I was really in a rut? You can get inspiration from your own life. Your own life will tell that story, and it's you. You can say, hey, I got that feeling when I woke up one day and decided to walk for 30 minutes and give myself some time, whatever that was. But I would tell my future self to remember what worked. And for me, what worked is to keep going no matter what. And to always take time to love on you. And I try to live by that. And even when we was talking about love earlier, one thing I always say is that when love finds you, or when you experience true love, you should love from the overflow of your self-love. Like, your self-love comes first. Like, nobody should love you more than you love you. And that's how I feel. I feel like, hey, when I told those little girls, can't nobody do it like me, that's because I give me a lot, right? I invest in me, and I try to push me and have those me moments, if you will, and never forget them. Even if the moment is going to the gym, pumping hard and feeling good when I'm done and seeing the results. So I would say to keep going and just always remember what works.
Thank you. That was amazing. Your strength is amazing, pushing through regardless of what you saw in front of you.
Yes.
And sharing this time with me.
Yes.
And the reflecting on your journey. This is your journey. This is your story. Nobody could tell it but you.
Yes.
And just keep pushing forward. And I just so appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to spend time with you.
Yes.
And
thanks for having me.
Anytime. I appreciate
it.
Have an amazing birthday year.
Thank you so much.
This is your year.
Yes.